Okay, we're back here. And I'll keep popping over to see if anybody has questions. So welcome. This is Janet Powers from the Women's Toolbox, and you are all members of the Women's Toolbox, the first social media site for women in business, and for the companies that have products and services for those women in business. Now, I'm just going to go over to Skype for 1 second and make sure, I was on Do Not Disturb. What we're going to do today is talk about the communities and how to set up the communities. One of the things that I did over the weekend was I canceled my email marketing from 2 sites. I have used Constant Contacts since I started my business. It cost me about $100 a month. And I had one shopping cart that I used for email marketing, and that cost me $129 a month. So I was spending $229 per month with my email marketing, and I got very good results. Both of them are great tools. In fact, it was really hard to even cancel the Constant Contact because I really believe in what they do. But now that I've found this tool, using the community function, as long as you're diligent about not re-adding people who opt out, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute, you're going to stay compliant. Now, because my attorneys will make me say this, I am not an attorney. I'm not a legal expert on spam acts or anything like that. I'm simply sharing how I use it and how I stay compliant. You need to do your own best practices and talk to your own legal support team to make sure that you're doing it right. You know what? It's one of those things that everything is fine until someone gets mad at you. So whether you're using an email marketing tool or you're using the community function here, you need to stay compliant. If somebody opts out of your list, don't put them back on. I'm going to jump over here real quick and see if anybody has any questions. Looks like everyone's okay. Okay. So when you log into the tool, and by now, most of you, except for the people who signed up late last week, because I'm just back from the IBM conference, you should already have your login. The folks who signed up last week, you'll have your login, if not today, tomorrow. I'm just finishing up some of the things that I need to do to configure you. I learned a boatload while I was down there about how we can really use this tool in a way that even I didn't see. The other thing I want to tell you is right now I'm actually using the webinar functionality from the tool. And last week when I did this course, I actually used the webcam on my computer and actually did a webcam so you could see me live plus share my screen, which is a very powerful way to communicate with your list. I haven't dried my hair yet this morning, so I decided not to use the webcam. But think about, next week we'll do that. Think about the power you have to connect with an audience in a very different way. You know, we're overwhelmed with data. Show your face. Remember what I've been saying a long time now? Come out from behind the electronic curtain. Be a part of the community. Be a leader in the community. Okay. One more check back here to see if anybody has any questions. No questions? We're good? All right. So on the Communities tab, so when you log in, you land on what's called your dashboard. And here in this top part is where I will put messages to the community. For example, we did a beta launch for 1 month of this site just to figure out how it worked, what were the best practices, and then after my conference, the IBM conference, learning what will work better. So over the weekend on 2/1, I changed this over to what's now called production. This is no longer a beta. We have more than 100 people already signed up and using the tool, and now I want to get you trained so you can too. So in this section is where my message to you, to the community, will always be. When you scroll down on your dashboard, there's a section that says Welcome. And on the Welcome section, it says What's New and Get Started. This is important for you to click on. This has more tutorials and more information and it's so easy. They've done a fabulous job. What's in the different pieces? What can you do? How can you do it? It's a learning center like I have never seen before. But even better than the What's New is the Get Started section, which literally gives you step-by-step instructions. Create a profile, build your network, upload files, join a community, all of these things. This is fabulous. Okay? So you should have already, I've been telling you all to create your profile. It'll tell you exactly how to do it. Any questions on that? Okay. Going back to my dashboard. So Get Started is the best place where you can go to find out how to get anything done. And on the Get Started tab, where it says Build Your Network and Invite Guests, this is what I'm going to show you to do today, as well as join a community of like-minded people. Okay? So after this, if you want to go back and read this, this is where you can really get even more information. Further down on your dashboard is the Meetings section, which is what I'm using. Now, this is their New Meetings tab. I happen to like the old Meetings functionality better than the new, so I convinced IBM to add that back into our subscription. So there's actually two different meeting tabs. I happen to like the one that doesn't say new better. Further down, it'll tell you what has happened. People have updated their profiles, have accepted your invite into the network, all sorts of things. So this is your dashboard. Soon, this is going to even have more information. They're going to include analytics and links into your other social media platforms. What I saw down at the IBM conference was nothing short of fabulous. So there's even more coming. And as more things are added, I will make sure I update you right here in this announcement box. All right, one more time. Any questions before I move on? Looks like we're good. Okay, so today is about communities. Up in the top, it says Communities. There's also the same tab on the right, on the left-hand side. Either one of these navigations leads you to the same place. It's just a matter of preference. I happen to use top navigation. And then the top navigation is where you can set up your own community. Now, what we have here is I actually created four communities for us to use. Now, you're going to see some of my private communities as well. For example, I have a private community with the IBM folks that was just set up where it's restricted. So only people who I give access can see this. And this is a place where I'm going to communicate with the development and product teams about things I think that they should add or issues that we're having. We're going to set up a place for you to share that with me, because some of the stuff I can solve for you in a minute, and other things I'm going to have to escalate. This one is one Kathy Garland set up and invited me to be a part. And this is a different one that I have as a restricted community. The open community, where anybody can be a part of, it's called the Women's Toolbox community. And here I have different sections. Now, they use the word forums, and it's one of the things that I talked to them about. Forums makes me think of 1980. You know, it's not a forum the way it's almost a social media stream of information where you can start a topic, much like the LinkedIn kind of look or Facebook kind of look. You start a topic and then people comment on it. That's exactly what this is. Okay? I'm going to check back over and see if anybody has any questions. No questions. So for you to start a community, all you have to do, I'm going to go back to communities. And here's, again, a section where you can learn all about it. It's really easy. Start a community. You name your community. You put tags in. So this is much like you would on a WordPress blog or anything like that. The tags, and I'll show you where somebody can look at the tags later. This is key. So, for example, I think I saw on the call Ken Dempsey from North Shore Kitchen and Bath. Ken, you'd want to put in the tags kitchens, bath, home renovation. Let me see who else is on the call here. It could be about divorce. I see Nancy there. Divorce, relationships, things like that. Let's see. Camille, can you see the screen? Just got a note from someone to say, I don't know, we'll have to see if she can see the screen. Sandy, it can be about women and empowerment and things like that. You want to use the tags that are about your business. Tamara, it can be about marketing. But it's really important for you to use those tags. Now, where it says access, and there's 3 ways to do this. One that says restricted, people must be invited to join. And then there's a box here that says allow people from outside my organization to become members. In order to set up a community for your list, so let's say, for example, it was Nancy K., and this is going to be moving forward after divorce. That was the name of her community, the name of her business. Actually, I don't know if that's the exact words, so hopefully. And the tag would say divorce. Here's where, because some of the people on her list are not members of this community. So she would want to say restricted and invite people to be part of it. The ones that say moderated and opened, those are the ones who have paid to be part of the Women's Toolbox community. And a lot of people ask me, why do you have to pay to be part of a social media site? You don't. What this is almost reverse engineering of social media. On social media, somebody can connect with you from all over the world, and the truth is, some of those people are wackos. Here's where we can all bring in our own communities that we know are good people, are normal people, aren't going to try to send us $10 million from our uncle's bank account, 3,000 miles away. And what you're paying for is the technology and the training to expand your own audience. You're not paying for a social media site. You're paying for the tools in order to expand your audience. So what I'm going to recommend everyone do is use the restricted one to start so you can allow people from outside your organization to become members. Okay? If you want to leverage the Women's Toolbox community, you can use an open one. But for your list, I would say put your list in a restricted one because you want to be able to communicate to them much like you do in email. And we'll talk about the other scenarios in a little bit. So we're going to start a community in order to set up a community so you can add your list to it. You're going to put a description in. You can upload an image. And I'm going to say cancel here rather than create it. You can also add the members now, or I'm going to show you in a few minutes how you can add them in an upload. I'm going to go back and see if anybody has any questions. Let's see here. I don't see or hear you. Okay. Hold on a second. Let's get Howard in here. Okay. So, Camille, you need to, if you can't hear me, it's useless for me to say this, but you need to install a plug-in in order to hear me. And you can't see me because I don't have my webcam on. All you should be able to do is see my screen. So, let's see, who's here? So Ken or Nancy or Tamara or Sandy, someone, can you just tell me that you can see and hear everything? That's correct, Tamara. We can, and I'm going to show you how to do that in 1 second. So Tamara asked if, can you invite people outside the Women's Toolbox? My whole vision here, folks, was to take my engaged audience, because that's what all of the sponsors that I have, they're always saying that you're such an engaged audience of people. People come to the Women's Toolbox and they stay for 30 minutes and they visit 15 pages. How did we stay engaged? My theory is it's not about the most eyeballs. It's about the best listeners. And then having, 10,000 people on your list is great. And I have a fairly high open rate, 35%, which is probably double the industry average. But then that means there's 70% of the people I send an email to who never even open it, never mind read or click on something. And I suspect you have that same kind of scenario. People are sick of email. Even though we all check it, we don't read it. And so my theory is, let's communicate to our list in a way that they're more apt to open and read and participate, which is in a social way, much like Facebook and LinkedIn. And with this tool, you can create your own social media community and invite in your community, your list. That's how I saved more than $2,400 over the weekend by canceling my email subscription tools. And I'm going to set up communities and just put everyone here. Let me show you how. Okay, I'm actually going to save this just for the sake of putting it here. I'm going to just type in, let's see if we can get someone. Here we go, pain-free marketing. So Tamara is a member of our community, and I'm going to add her to this list. Okay? But I'm also going to add, I think I'm in there. I wish I had an email address of somebody who wasn't part of the organization. If you had an email address, let me try. I'm going to add this. Okay, perfect. So in our proactive publicity, we have our own email. So I just added someone who has not paid to be part of the service, and I added Tamara, who has. And I'm going to save this. Okay? I'm going to go back to, I'm now landed on the test community. So once you save it, it automatically brings you to that community so you can start to configure it. They have a fabulous help section right here, but I'm going to teach you how to do it quickly. It defaults that it gives you a files folder. Now remember, don't put your income taxes up here. You're going to use this. Certainly it's secure, and if you don't share your file folder, but I wouldn't put my files and my important documents up on Google. I just wouldn't. I certainly save it to Carbonite or to QuickBooks or something like that, but just remember, it's still a cloud, and you can't get more secure than a place like IBM. But be careful what you put up here. Just put up the things you're going to share. If you put up what you put up at your own risk, okay? Over here on the right-hand side, it says Community Actions. And when you click that, you can create a sub-community. So, for example, Tamara, if you had a mastermind or a coaching group that was specifically underneath your community, you could create a sub-community in order to communicate with them too, that only those people had access to. You can edit the community if you want to change the name or the tags. If you wanted to email the whole community, you can do it from here. And when you do this, it'll open up. You'll have to configure it for whether it's Google email or whatever it is. You have to configure it the first time. Your community has an opt-out function of leave community, and you as the owner of this community can delete it. So only you can create, edit, customize, mail, and delete. Your users can leave. Does that make sense? Coming back over here to check on that. Oh, perfect. I'm going to do this right now because then you can see. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to add you in 1 second. All right. So I'm going to use this community actions, and I'm going to customize this community. So again, I went to community actions and customize, and only the owner of this community can do this. And what they've given you are widgets to use. So, for example, Tamara, if you had a mastermind and you wanted to create a sub-community, just click on that, and it'll add the widget. I'm going to add the first sub-community under this, and I'm going to say Tamara sub-community. I'm just going to make this easy, right? Members. Now, see where I just said members, and I'm going to save this? You see it says add all members of this community to your new sub-community. If you wanted to, you can, it's almost like, it's almost like hierarchical. You can keep adding people down and down. So say, for example, you create one that's for dog lovers and for cat lovers, but you have a higher level one that says pet lovers. You can make sure, you can decide who gets where. You can reuse the members of your community in different sub-communities. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to say test here. You can put up another community image. And now I've created a sub-community called TPSC. I'm going to go back to my test community. So now we have a sub-community, and we have files and folders. People following along with this? All right. Somebody raised their hand. All right, Ken, you can hear me. Did you have a question, Ken? You can type it down here in the box. Type questions here. See if I'm missing any other questions here. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm going to come back up and I'm going to say customize again. Now you can actually click on every one of these if you want right from the beginning. You can add a blog. Now, I don't want you blogging on this community, but what I do want you to do is I want you to create an entry for the blog that you write on major media, because remember, my opinion is no one should be blogging on their own website anymore. You all received, and if you haven't, I'll resend it, you all received the link where you can get access to every single one of the 19 major media videos showing you exactly how to submit your own blog to different major media sites. What I think you should do is blog on a major media site, put the title here, put the first few lines, so, I'm just going to pretend this is a couple of lines, and then hyperlink to the article from here. This will kind of look. You just put, I'm sure you probably have to put, always clicked on open link in a new window. And now that's a hyperlink. You can add tags. So I don't really expect you to blog on this site, but I do think you should put links. You can also schedule when that happens. You can customize the URL. There's so much you can do with this. I'm not going to overwhelm you today, but on the blog section of the community, what I want you to do is I want you to blog. I didn't put a title. I want you to add a blog that's the first few lines of the blog you published on major media. Now, if you are blogging on your own site, go ahead and put it. But put the first few lines here with a read more. Or put the information here in a call to action that will send somebody back to your site. So one of the things I often teach people is, say you did a top 10 list. The top 10 things everyone should know before they renovate their kitchen. Put 9 of them here, and the 10th one should be, And to learn the 10th one, click here. And when they click on that, do not bring them to your home page. Bring them to a very specific page on your website that gives them the 10th thing. And you might even encourage them to download your free book to get 11 through 20 or another article if they gave you your email. And now you start to build your list. Anybody have any questions on that? And you send the same message to multiple sites and have to type the message once. Ken, if you're asking about if you can blog on multiple sites with the same article, the answer is no. You never want to duplicate content. Years ago, it was no big deal to have duplicate content out on the Internet. But the algorithms have changed, and if the algorithms change, one of the things that they hate now is duplicate content. Major media, for the first time, is really becoming very powerful about accepting user-generated content. And I even suggest this on the Women's Toolbox. When you submit an article, and we've never let anyone do this before, but don't submit the whole article. Put the title, put an excerpt, and a read more, and bring them back to major media. And the reason why I think you should go back to major media is because if you bring traffic to the major media site, they're going to even promote your content even further. And not only are they going to promote your content, let's face it, folks, we're all small businesses. None of us have a team of search engine optimization people working on our site. They do. Let them do the work for you. Make sure you have good, rich content, and let them do the work for you about optimizing it. Their goal is to get as much traffic to their site. If you help them do that by getting them giving them more content and traffic, they're going to like you. Peggy Nolan has been writing for Divine Caroline. We used to get her published, and now we taught her how to do it on her own. She was on the home page. That can't hurt your traffic. They have millions of people looking at that site. None of us do. So, Ken, hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, just type me in another one. Tamara, where it will show up is right here. So I'm just going to save this so that I can, I'm going to post it. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the test community. And now I see the sub-community, and now I see my blog. Now I'm going to go back up and customize it again. And you can add activities, wikis, a forum, and an ideation blog, and bookmarks. So now I've added everything to it, because I just want to show you what each piece is. Activities is a fabulous way to put your new event. I'm just going to put something here. So if you want other people to change it, that's how you would fix this. Only owners can edit activities. Okay? But anybody could make a comment. So I'm just going to throw something in here for the sake of putting it in here. Now, you've just created a mastermind called AAAA. I'm going to add something in here. So say, for example, and you can tell people when it's in there, if you have a mastermind group or if you have a class coming up, you can tell people when it is, what they should do beforehand. So for someone like you, Tamara, as a marketing person, you could teach people 52 weeks to best practice marketing, or 12 months to best practice, and you could add that would be the new activity, 12 months to marketing success. And every month, give them something to do. And you can set it up right from the beginning, but what you'd be doing is engaging them in a conversation. Ken Dempsey from North Shore Kitchen and Bath, you could have an activity that's called 3 months to clean up the clutter. I'm making something up. And you could put out activities. Okay, it's week 1. Pick one drawer, pick your silverware drawer, go buy an organizer, and this is how you organize your drawer. I'm making something up. But the things that you can start, the practical advice that you can share with someone, it engages your audience. It brings them in to start engaging with you and learning from you in a very different way than an email newsletter does. You're making them part of your social audience, particularly women. Women make decisions based on personal connections, referrals, and recommendations. If I say to anyone on this call, hey, I'm going to buy a widget, and if Sandy says to me, don't buy that widget, my sister-in-law bought that widget, and here's what happened, guess what? I'm never going to buy that widget. It's all about the practical advice and information sharing that we do online. There's a statistic that says 85% of women go to their social networks before they purchase anything. That's pretty significant. And think about your own activities. How many people go out to Facebook and say, anybody go to the new restaurant down the street? Of course we do. This is a very different way for you to communicate with your audience where they're more likely to read and engage back with you. I'll come over and just check the questions. Oh, good, Camille. You can hear us now. Perfect. Sandy, I'm going to get to the ideation blog in 1 second. All right. Again, I'll stay on as long as I have to get you through this. So I guess one of my questions, and feel free to answer here, do people feel like this is making sense? Do you feel like this is helping? Am I going at the right speed? Do you have any questions? Give me a hand raise if this is at the right speed and this is helpful. All right. I'm back over at my test community again. So we talked about files. So say, for example, Ken, you had an article that you got from one of your vendors about the 3 different types of marble and where you should use it depending on what room in the house you're doing. Sandy, maybe it's, I wish I had my camera on. I'm actually wearing one of your, I shouldn't call it a scarf, shawls that you made me. You might put up pictures of the shawls. Or you might put up a little tip on how to do the 10 easy ways to sew anything. We talked about sub-communities. We talked about the blog. We talked about activities. The wiki. Wiki is just like we read about out there. It's a way to share practical advice in a way, again, what we're doing here is this is a way people are looking for information. So say, for example, Ken, I would put a wiki here describing what marble is and where you should and shouldn't use it. In fact, what we'll do, I'm going to have you set up the community. I'll call you later, and I'll actually help you put your videos out here that we did when we went to that beautiful house you designed, so that people can know what are the different pieces of marble and surface materials. Tamara, it could be in your wiki, it could be what's the definition of marketing versus public relations? I'm sure you get a million questions like that. Okay, let me come back here, and I'm just going to cancel this. And now I'm going to come back to my test community. So we've talked about files, the sub-communities, which would be portions of your existing community, the blog, the activity, the wiki. I'm going to talk about the ideation blog. And, oh, by the way, you can drag and drop and put in whatever order you want. The ideation blog is exactly what it says. Tap into the experience, knowledge, and creativity of the community to develop your first idea. So now, again, here's a place where you could have a conversation. I'm thinking of adding this product or this service to my business. Do you think this is helpful? I'm trying to reach Oprah. Anybody have any ideas how to do that? I'm renaming my business. I have a new logo. Will you give me your opinion? You can put just about anything here. I'm going to come back and just check on questions again. All right. All right. So it looks like everybody's going with me. So the ideation blog is different than a blog, which is your practical advice that you're sharing. The ideation blog is the practical advice, a conversation about it, the questions and answers that we always had. The best way I describe this ideation blog, how many of us have stood in a supermarket and said to the woman behind us, hey, is that spaghetti sauce any good? It's the practical advice, information sharing that we do with people we may or may not know on things that we want to know about. So it could be a question, who uses, what hosting company do you use for your website, and do you like them or not? Hopefully that makes sense. And again, you just post it. Back here again, I'm going to go to forums. Now, forums are more the stream of information like you would on Facebook. I'm actually going to create one just so you can see. All right? If it's a question, you can do the questions here. I like the ideation blog. I just think that's kind of fun. So let's say, and the forum will go in the test community. You can put a file up, and I'm going to say save. You can reply. You can pin this to your favorites. So if I wanted to reply, now you're going to start a thread. This is just like Facebook. Okay? So if we broke down what each one of these things are, file are like Google Docs, specific to the test community or for your business. Subcommunities are like your mastermind, your coaching groups, maybe even a client. So, for example, you could lock down a community and only invite in a specific client. So, you could have a conversation here with your client and show them pictures, almost a project management tool. A blog, take the blog from your own website if you're still blogging there, or from the major media site. No different than WordPress. You can schedule it. You can put pictures into it. You can hyperlink things. My opinion is you should put the excerpt and a read more. Activities. These could be events. It could be, again, I think it would be fun to try in the activities section to give people a 12-month plan, a 52-week plan. I don't care what it is. But again, what you're trying to do is engage them in a conversation. You're not just trying to deliver information. You need to inform them, educate them, and entertain them. And activities is a reason for them to come back. It could even be, the 12 steps to marketing success. And they know they have to come back in at least once a month to come get the next activity. The wiki is where you can create your own definitions and help educate the audience about your expertise. The ideation blog is where you ask questions back and forth. Forums are much more like the Facebook stream. And then bookmarks, we haven't done that. I actually don't like the bookmarks as much as I originally did. If you put a URL here, let me just jump over here. The problem with the bookmarks is, and you can put it to add to important books, so it'll put it in your saving thing. I'm just going to say save. Here's the problem. I click on it, I go away. You don't want to send anybody away. So I don't know that I would use the bookmarks going forward, not until they fix that. Those were the first things I said to them that they had to fix. You don't make someone go away, you open a new page. It was just missed when they were developing it. Okay? I'm going to go back to my dashboard for a minute. Because what I'm going to show you is I created a new mastermind. I look at my communities. I created a new community, a new sub-community. Now I'm going to show you how to add people. I want to make sure that everything makes sense here. All right. Anybody else here with a question? Okay. So now you've created this great community. I'll show you some best practice. In fact, I'm going to do it right now because the other part I want you to really pay attention to. I'm going to come back to Women's Toolbox, and I'm going to come to the Make the Connection. So what I did was I decided the blog, the ideation blog, bookmarks, wiki, and subcommunities and files. I actually didn't put the forum in here because I think the ideation blog is like a forum to still have the stream of information. And again, it's the practical advice. So this is what I chose for our community. So a blog where you could share your practical advice, ideation blog where you can discuss the things that are important to you. I did put bookmarks, but I'm really very much considering taking this out until they fix that. But I left it in because I want you to be able to put a bookmark to your website and things like that. A wiki where you can share the definition of terms that people need to know about. Sub-communities in case people want to. So, for example, under Make the Connection, what I want people to do here is really make a connection to each other. And what I'm going to do is once we get everyone, I only set this up over the weekend, once we get everybody start to connect, I'm going to create sub-communities, and multiple times per week, I'm going to connect you. So if anybody had gone to, anybody on the call had actually joined us at the conference this year, I did what was called a sales chain. Now I know all of you. It's my job to know all of you and what you do. And if you don't think I visit your website and read what you do on social media and read your newsletter, you're crazy. I read every one of them. What I did at the conference was I literally started with one person. I just randomly picked Meredith Leapelt from Rich Life Marketing. And what I asked her is, what do people buy before they buy from you? And she said, well, they probably usually go to a lawyer and form a company, an LLC. I said, well, come here. I took her by the hand and I introduced her to a lawyer. And I said to Darlene, what did they buy from you before they, come get their legal stuff set up? Well, they might have worked on a website. Oh, yeah, how about that? And I walked her around. I'm going to do the exact same thing here online, connecting people in the community who I know should know each other and who have products that are in the sales chain, kind of like a food chain, for your business. This is also where we're going to hold virtual networking meetings, which will be conversations. And then soon, we're actually going to have virtual networking meetings that we'll all get on Skype. I can conference you in, and we're going to really get to know each other. I'll make sure nobody has questions before I go show you how to okay. So now I'm going to go back to the test community. There's my test community. Test community. Now I want to add people. On the left-hand side, it says members. You can add members or invite them, or you can import them. Now, if you want to import them, you can add them as members or owners. So, for example, Sandy and I were working on a project together. I can invite her as an owner, which means she has administrative rights to this. Or I can invite someone, either one. So I can just add them or invite them. If you have permission to send them an email, I would say you have permission to add them. Again, they have the opt-out field. It's a different way of communicating. Check with your lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I don't know if that passes every sniff test on the anti-spam. My guess is it does, but I'm not an attorney. You can put in the addresses in a comma-separated file. And what comma-separated is you could save an Excel spreadsheet in a different way, or you could upload a file. That's a CSV file, comma-separated value. And if you don't know what that is, this isn't the time for me to teach you. So what I would say is I would add members, just like I did earlier. Nope, that's not the one. I was adding Tamara's email. And you can add anybody you want. So say I wanted to add Sandy. Simple. Make sense? So if you have your list and you have your email name, now, let's say, for example, I'm just going to make up an email address. I could type in anything I want, and if I want to take them out, I take them out. If I want to invite members, I want to cancel this, hold on. Same thing. It's the same tool. If you want to invite people as a guest into your whole world, click on Invite Guest, go up to your name, Invite Guest, put their name, their last name, their email, and say a new account is ready for you. And then they can actually connect with you in a network way. So you can add them to the whole site, or you can add them just to your community. My recommendation is put them here, because then they have an identity. Put their first name, their last name, and email, and click on a new account is ready for you. Okay. And then add them to your community as a member. So they'll get 2 invitations, one to join the Women's Toolbox as a guest and to be a member of your community. Now you can engage with them in a way that they're more apt to listen and communicate back. And that's the goal here. You want to engage them. You want a higher open rate than 10%. On this site, 100% of your audience sees 100% of your posts. That's not true on social media. The most important thing, though, if you're going to set up a community, it is your responsibility to be engaging, informative, educational, even a little entertaining. If you set up communities and then abandon them, your members will abandon you. There go your customers. Additionally, you can invite people. Once I get all of the Women's Toolbox members in here, you can invite them. So exponentially, your audience just grew from your list plus my list. You probably at least double the size of your list. We have about, I think I have about 5,000 people I'm already working on uploading. That's a lot of people that you don't have access to today in a way like this, in a social business way. And that's one of the keys, is really building social infinity for your business. Okay. Any questions, comments? Anybody still listening? Are you sick of listening to me? Okay. I want to show you something. Let's see. I'm going to file from my computer. I want to show you something real quick. Anybody have any questions, comments? Yes, it's all recorded. That was one of the things that I did right at the beginning. It'll be all recorded, and you'll be able to listen to it later. Let's see if this will upload. I don't know if I can, just trying to see if that would upload. I wanted your opinion on something. See if I can get over here quickly. Yeah, I don't think you can see it. Oh, well. I was going to try to show you something that I was working on for the site. Okay. Any more questions about all of this? Anybody have concerns? Something you're thinking, I have no idea how to do this. Was this helpful? Oh, Camille, I don't have my webcam on today. That's why. That's why you can't see me. Next time. I didn't have time to dry my hair, so I didn't put the webcam on. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Was this helpful? Would it be, what I plan to do is this every single week at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. I'm not going to send out a million reminders. Simply going to just be here at 11 o'clock. I just thought it would be helpful if once a week you heard it from me versus having to read through anything, although I'll tell you, the tutorials and all of that stuff is very, very good on the IBM side. It's not something that, your head explodes when you look at all the stuff that you have to read. They really did a nice job. I mean, the part where it goes, let me go back over there for a minute. If I go back to my dashboard, this part here, get started, somebody just did it right. I mean, it's simply step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Just did a fabulous job. So, all right, folks, I think that's it for today. If anybody has any last questions before I call it a day. Thanks, Camille. Well, thank you, every one of you, for being here. Oh, good, Holly, good. And you know what? We're going to keep doing it, and there's going to be a place on here that says, this. And all right, here's a perfect example. Why don't one of you, when you go out and play with this, go over to the communities and go to, let's say, go to the Women's Toolbox community. And I'm going to add right now, I'm going to go customize it. And I'm going to add the ideation blog. And under the ideation blog, put down different ways of you using this site. That's up in the forums, comments, suggestions, and ideas to make this the best social business site for women. But under the ideation blog, add something. Ask a question. Throw out a tip to someone. Be conversational. Connect with someone. One more thing real quickly I just want to show you. So what I did was I actually set up a Make the Connection, water cooler chatter, and it's all about business. And the reason why I did that, it's all about business. It's going to be the questions that we have about marketing, advertising, graphic design, words, all about our business. Water cooler chatter is our life thing. Home, health, family, relationships. And Make the Connection is where you can connect with each other, and I will connect you. So hopefully that makes sense. A little less categories, and I'm going to let you folks put the rest of the categories. Ken, you should have received, if you haven't, I'll check on it because you were one of the folks who set up last week. Should have received an email from IBM, but I'll check on that after the call. And you'll get a URL with all your login information. Thank you, Camille. All right, folks, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop the recording. And I hope this was helpful. And I'll be back here at 11 o'clock. But I'm putting my foot down. I can't believe I'm going to do this. if you have questions about the site, if you need my help, you're going to go here. If anybody sends me an email about the site and doesn't log on here, I'm not going to answer the email, because I have to get you to engage over here in a very different way. And the only way that's going to work is for you to use the site. Don't waste your money. Engage in the community. I need you to make this what it should be, what it can be. But I need your help. I hope you'll all be willing to help me. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a terrific week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.